itinerary for the next Resident Evil podcast episode. Resident Evil Extinction commentary coming up. We've also got top 10 best of Paul Anderson movie moments. Nick would really want us to do this? This is... Oh, hello there! I didn't realise you were with me. I'm just going over the script for the next Resident Evil podcast, and I think it's... I've just seen some news has broken, so let's just chuck all that away. So here we go, guys. This is it. This is the moment that I think a lot of people have been anticipating. There's been a lot of people with some, I'd say, inside sources. I know some are genuine, some aren't. But the actual reveal of what has happened today is something that we were all expecting, and it is the big reveal, albeit unintended reveal, of the Resident Evil 3 remake. A game I just can't wait for. Just to clear a few things up before I get into some details, these are my thoughts. I don't speak for everyone else on the podcast, and I always tend to take a stance, as most of you know, somewhat frustratingly, I'm sure to some of you, that I'm pretty anti-remake. And as good as Resident Evil 2 remake is in a sense, I don't really have the greatest desire to go back to it, because we've got the original. We've got the original seamless HD project, which I just think is absolutely incredible, and in many ways the seamless HD project of Resident Evil 3 has kind of made this remake even more pointless to me. But we knew it was an inevitability. I can understand why it's got to happen. The two games, whether we like to admit it or not as fans, they are not easy to port in a sense, because of how the backgrounds don't upscale terribly well, although the seamless HD projects offer a nice workaround for that. I'd like to just simply see those versions put out for modern day consoles, but you know, the reality of it is people crave new presentations. They want new shiny things all the time, and that's where the remakes come in. And you know, Resident Evil Remake 3 we knew was going to be probably divisive from the get-go because of how they chose to approach Resident Evil 2 remake. That said, I did not expect certain things to do with the reveal today, and I'm going to look through the images here, and I'll try and make them appear here. So hopefully that will have worked. So yeah, straight away we've got the and it's worth saying that this is not an official announcement. Capcom have still not come out and confirmed it as per recording. It is 7 o'clock UK time on the 3rd of December as I record this. So I'm going to keep an eye on Twitter, because things may actually break. Things may actually break as I'm recording, and I'll try and react to that if that happens. You know, maybe a trailer will come out. I don't know. So yeah, the first thing is the Biohazard RE3 logo. They're still running with that RE3 thing, and we get the Nemesis, and we've got Jill, who looks a lot like Jill. She looks like she's wearing a tank top. We don't really get to see much more. She's got the sort of whatever you would want to call it, side pack holster thing. You can't really see a pistol actually in the image, but it doesn't look like a Samurai Edge, so I don't know whether she'll have a different starting pistol or whatever. The haircuts, it's Jill. What can I say? You know, I'm not too hot on how she looks there, but there is this image where I think she looks pretty great. Actually, I think that's kind of cool. I'm really sad it's not Julia Voth. I was really hoping that, you know, after the Chris Resident Evil 7 debacle and things like that, they would maybe try and retain some of the older styles. But a lot of people are pointing out it's not too bad, and it has more in line with Julia than perhaps this image betrays when you look at the other one. So I think Jill, yeah, she looks alright. It's Jill. I'm really, really, really hopeful that we're going to get Patricia Jarly, who played her in Resident Evil 5 and Umbrella Chronicles. Patricia, anyone who plays Teppen will know, Patricia has recently come back to record a small handful of lines, like it's probably no more than like 10-15 lines of dialogue for that game, and given that Teppen uses all the current voices, to my knowledge, it'll have like Dante and Nero and all them, and I think Chun-Li, is it still Laura? I don't know whether it's Laura Bailey actually, who I think's played Chun-Li in Street Fighter V and Marvel Capcom Infinite. So my hope is they've got Patricia Lee to do those lines while she was doing the recording sessions for Remake 3, so fingers crossed. Patricia was my favourite Jill voice actress, so it'd be really, really amazing to see her back. We then go to Carlos, and it's really nice to see, as so many of the wonderful community pointed out that Capcom modelled Elliot Edward on me. Thank you very much, Capcom. It's nice to see that they've gone for our boy Sonny Bauer for Carlos here. Many members of the community have pointed this out already. This is not me who's saying it, this is a community saying this. Nick's even, Neptune has even managed to put a nice side-by-side comparison on the podcast Discord if you guys wanted to check that out. It's very, very good. I'm sure Sonny's absolutely delighted with the comparisons that he's going to be receiving now for the next few years. Carlos, I don't. The thing is, to say I don't like it is not fair, because it's a dramatic improvement on his Umbrella Chronicles design and his absolutely woeful Operation Raccoon City design. But the thing I don't like about this design of Carlos here is that it's not recognisable as Carlos in some ways, in the same way that like Chris in Resident Evil 7 was. If you were to just simply take away that logo, take away the Nemesis, take away Jill, and just show that character against a plain background and said this is for a new Resident Evil game, no one, I don't think, would look at that and say that's Carlos. And that's, I think, the problem, is the fact that the artistic changes they're making to these characters make them unrecognisable to the characters they actually are, and I think that's when you have a problem. Up until like the likes of Chris in Resident Evil 7, for the most part, even when characters looked quite different, they still retained a sense of themselves. Even when Jill stopped becoming Julia Voth, there's so much about like the archetype of the design and the style of the character that just tells you it's Jill, even when it doesn't necessarily look like them. I mean, that's maybe not the best image of Carlos, and I'm sure when we actually see the UBCS uniform, although it looks like it's been quite heavily overhauled just from that small glimpse we can see there, we'll just have to see. I'm no gun nut. I assume that is the same rifle he had in Resident Evil 3. But yeah, it's mainly the hair that's changed it, and obviously he's quite gruff here with the a beard, which he didn't have in the original. Carlos was clean shaven, and the big thing is he gonna have his sexy accent, guys? Is he gonna get all the foxy ladies wild? So from that image alone, and I don't want to judge the artwork just on that image, because I wasn't too hot on Jill in this image, but then the subsequent image that came out later, which looks like it's a screen cap from a trailer actually, looks a lot better, so I was really a lot more pleased when I saw that. So just on this image alone, it's at least recognisably Resident Evil 3. If you took the logo away from there, even if you took the Nemesis away from there, you would look at that and go, okay, that's Jill, and because I know it's Jill, that's Carlos. So it's a drastic new redesign for Carlos, but it is what it is. The Nemesis then. I don't like it, guys. I'm sorry, I hate to be the negative one on the podcast all the time, but it's got a nose now, which isn't actually clear in this image. But before I switch to the next one, we'll notice we've got a sort of dishwasher waist hose that goes over his arm. I assume it's some sort of protective coating or sleeve for the tentacle that usually goes over there. Will it be actually like mechanical tubing? Who knows? And I just do not like the caution tape. I've been saying for the most part of today that caution tape on a Nemesis is the 2020 hat on a Tyrant, and We need to see it in a better context, really, but it just, Caution just looks so stupid. And I understand, thanks to the Selfish Gene, it's a throwback to the Resident Evil Biohazard 3, art back that they released to promote the game back in 1999 or whatever it was. So there's a nice throwback in that sense, and maybe it is just simply for this artwork, but we will switch to the next image, and this is where you can really see, you can really, so that it's clearly like some sort of apparatus, I can never say that word properly, that feeds some sort of tubing elsewhere, or is that the limiter? I don't really know. You get to see some really quite gruesome detail on the side of his face, but you also get to see the wonky nose, and I know the nose is causing a lot of problem for a lot of people, and it I suppose the kind of wrinkled nature of it, and the sort of intention to keep it humanoid is to make it more like it's derived from the 103 range, as they redesigned him in Remake 2. You get to see the Caution tape again, and the teeth just... I mean, the teeth aren't really that different from the original artwork, but they're just a little bit more refined and a bit cleaner. He uses some Colgate, this Nemesis. So yeah, I'm not too hot on the Nemesis, in all honesty, and I suppose there's still every chance he's gonna have a hat, isn't there? And what type of hat would you guys like to see on him? Are we going for some sort of fez, or sort of, beret? Does Nemesis have an umbrella beret to counteract Jill's Stars one? Is that a neat in-game touch they're going to do when you play as Jill in her Stars uniform? Is Nemesis going to have an umbrella beret? I'm digressing, it's all nonsense, I know, but these are the kind of conversations that we have because Capcom put a hat on a TyranT. So, yeah. So that's the Nemesis, not really much more to say there. And then just the final image of the ones we'll look at today is the... where have I lost my image? It is the project... no, it's no longer Project Resistance. We now have the name, and it's Resident Evil Resistance. And they've revealed 2 more of the survivors. I don't know whether that's it now, but if we look on the far left, we've got Elijah Wood and a blonde Claire. So they're really Elijah Wood in Lord of the Rings era. It's definitely a Frodo sort of head of hair there. Maybe he's going to be on a quest. I don't think the names have been revealed yet. I'll just quickly check Twitter while I'm literally recording this little thing now. I'm not really going to have a lot. I've not really got a lot to say. It's just a case of. It's just really a case of just covering it so we can pop something on the YouTube, to be honest, which as of today has hit 300 subscribers, so really appreciate that, thank you. The video content's something that we need to work on a little bit more, and believe me when I say we do have a lot of ideas and a few things we want to develop. It's just going to take some time, it's so time consuming. We all work on the podcast, and to actually find the time to squeeze in all the ideas we've got, there's nothing worse than having so many ideas swimming around in your head and just simply not the time to apply it, to apply those ideas and make them happen. But as I'm checking Twitter now, I can't see anything to do with a confirmation or names or anything like this. So we're in this assumption that this was all going to be for the Game Awards on the 12th, but from what I understand, and again I've not seen this confirmed or anything, but Sony's automatic bot that uploads all the pictures and images for the PSN accidentally uploaded all these images early as part of its regular update, and that's how it's happened. And this follows a ever increasingly long list of Capcom leaks, and I've been calling out a lot of people who have these endless sources, and you know, I do know that some people do have legitimate sources and whatnot, but Capcom really need to tighten this stuff up because they're ruining their own reveals. And you know, I don't doubt maybe sometimes, you know, a little leak is intentional here and there, but you know, for the most part, this is really not looking good for them. And you know, in the Street Fighter 5 case, where you know, the Evo pack leaked, the summer bundle leaked at Evolution, which is their big fighting game, the big annual fighting game tournament. That was because I think Steam did an update and launched the trailer 3 days before the big reveal, and this is a similar sort of thing. The PSN reveal's gone up before the game was due to be officially announced. So I'm just typing in Resident Evil 3. I'm just quickly doing image search while I'm recording, and we'll go, like, you know, within the last hour. Just see. So I'm just literally just seeing if there's any new images. I'm on the Discord, and I can't see anything new. So we'll assume that for now, that is going to be pretty much it until, you know, the actual official leak. Whether Capcom will now bring forward a potential trailer or information or anything now remains to be seen. Like I say, they haven't at present. So all that's left is to really say that I'm a bit apathetic toward remakes. I think the original games are perfect, and you know, as perfect as they can be. I often do have pretty good like nostalgic glasses, so I can go back and still appreciate things that came out, you know, 20 plus years ago, and appreciate them like they came out today. I don't have that issue, but I appreciate that some people do, and so, you know, I understand that these are a necessity for a lot of people. That said, I'm not too hot on the redesign of Carlos. I'm really not hot on the redesign of Nemesis, but I appreciate these are just early leaked screen or, you know, box arts or cover arts or whatever. So, you know, I'm not trashing it by any means. Please don't think I'm trashing it. I wait with bated breath to see what the rest of the games look like. Rest of the game looks like. I really hope it's a little bit more faithful to the canon than Resident Evil 2 was, but then again, at the same time, it doesn't really matter because we're sort of, the unofficial rule is that, you know, Resident Evil 2 exists in its kind of own little unique bubble. Capcom have even come out and essentially said you always go to the original game in terms of canonicity, so that's fine by me. I'm happy with that. Resident Evil 3 can sort of exist within that Resident Evil 2 and possibly Project Resistance bubble, so that's fine. I suppose I just really want to finish on this by saying yet again that I just really hope that this is it now for remakes, because whilst I know there is a hunger for this kind of stuff, and I'm not knocking that whatsoever. I appreciate that so many people are really excited for this, and you know, I'm never going to say no to seeing Jill again. She's one of my favourite characters in the whole of video gaming, and this is sort of Jill in her prime, if you like. So it's going to be really, you know, genuinely great to see her again and see how she's realised she's going to be in this game. Although I do have some trepidation because I don't particularly like how they chose to depict Claire in Resident Evil 2 or Ada in the, you know, both characters in the remake are not favourable versions of those characters for me. So we'll be interested to see what they do with Jill, how they'll tweak and change her character a little bit. If it's Patricia Lee, then we will have that sense of connection to previous performances, so that should be really cool. But yeah, just finishing, I just really hope that, you know, and I know you guys will have seen it too. I've seen on Twitter today. Great, can't wait for Code Veronica next. Can't wait for Resident Evil 4. And I just beg you guys, please just stop this now. Can we please get Resident Evil 8 sometime soon? Can we please have Revelations 3? Let's move this story on, because for all these time, money and resources that Capcom is spending on giving you these old games again, where you already know the story, you're just playing a updated presentation. That's all it is. These are often nothing new. in a sense. Unless they do something really clever and outlandish with it, they're not going to give you anything different. They might clarify a few details. You know, maybe they're going to finally give the official word on, is it the 1st or 2nd of October, for example. You know, but for the most part, I'm just desperate for this game's story to move forward. You know, I was watching Neptune play Resident Evil 7 last night, and I know it's a divisive game, and I know it causes a lot of problems, but God, I love that game so much. And I can't wait to see them, you know, push this new Blue Umbrella storyline, and you know, have Chris and see where he's going to go. I'm not too hot on the Connection storyline. I think it was a bit of a damp squib when it went off in the not a hero revision. But you know what? I'm still interested to see what they're going to do with it. I'm more interested in seeing where they're going to go forward with, you know, any more HCF references, or you know, Blue Umbrella, Red Blue Umbrella. I'm more interested in seeing that, no matter how badly they want to tell it, than just seeing a story I've already seen get told. Albeit, you know, in Resident Evil 2's case, saw it got told better 21 years ago. So, for fear of this turning into a mass waffle, I'm just going to leave it at that. It was just a case of getting some thoughts out, really. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, what are your thoughts, guys? Let us know on the Discord. I'll pop a link in the description and at the end of the video. Let us know in the comments. Really, yeah, just what do you think? What do you think to these redesigns? Is it what you want? So yeah, this is for now. Stars TyranT signing off, and we'll see you very soon. I guess we've got a lot to talk about in the next podcast recording now, so look forward to that, guys, and thank you very much. And yeah, here we go. What a ride this is going to be. Cheers.